Okay, welcome to another tutorial on FVD. This is just going to be hopefully another quick tutorial just on a dive loop, a normal dive loop. So I'll be doing two different styles of dive loops. One of which is the B&M dive loop, which is a lot different to the other one, which is just going to be a typical dive loop that you'd find on something like, say, a Gerstlauer or a Macks coaster. Say one of the Smilers dive loops or Voltron's dive loop or any dive loop really. So I'd start with that one. It's a bit more simple per se. So again, because it's a Gerstlauer, which is what I'm going to make it, the highline is 1.1 from Macks. It's 1.5, so just there's a consideration there. Again, sorry, I don't know what those are on feet. And I'm just going to start with about 90 kilometers an hour worth of force and 3.8 G. So let's just start from here. And this one really is not that difficult at all. It's just a very simple transition into 0G with a roll at 0G, pretty much, and don't wait until after to start the roll. I'll show you what that looks like if you did. I'm going to make it about 150 degrees per second. Maybe increase tension to 0.5. And append this. So I might just try and increase this a little. There we go. And then just going to set tension to -1. Just smooths it out a little. We can already see we've got the sort of shape that I want without really a lot going on. So I'm just going to lengthen this a little more. I'll say I'll bring it to about 175 and make this section dynamic. And then I just need to get, oh, do I have to? I do. So this section I'll bring back up 3.8. It's 7.8, 3.8. I'll set this to 2 seconds, not 3. It's tension to -1. Append it. And from here, just lengthen it a little. Say maybe to there. I'll just have a look at this. It might be too tall. Yeah, so I'd say that might be a bit too tight at the top, and the transition is a little strange. But other than that, this is just a very simple sort of element, and it's, in my opinion, a lot more simple to make than something like the B&M one, which will be coming up. So I'm just going to get the valley to be a bit more, say, on the same height of 3.9 meters is what it should be. So this is at 3.4 now. And that's as good as I think I'm going to be able to get it. And I might just remove a bit of this dead space on roll. And that's probably a bit nicer of a looking element than what it was. But really, the biggest thing that I'd say to consider on this, and I may even have a little bit of it on this, but not too bad, is that you don't want to have the 0G, or whatever force you're using for the top. If you want hang time, you can use just below 0G. Just note for that, the minimum I'd say to use would be like -0.6, very maybe -0.7 if you're going quickly enough. But -1 is what you like in no limits, but don't use it in FVD because it'll just make it flat. You won't be able to get anything with it. But yeah, what you don't want it to look like is this. So you don't want a massive sort of overhang. So this looks fine on ride. You can tell that it's there, but it's not as obvious as it is from the side, where it almost stalls out, unless you're going for a stalled dive loop or something. But then using 0G for it wouldn't be what I would do, because that's essentially just a normal dive loop with the weird shaping. So yeah, and then this yeah. So that's just something to note. But that is essentially all that there is to a normal dive loop from Gerstlauers. So let's move on to the B&M. Okay, for the B&M, just getting the properties out of the way. So just go out and check wireframe. Track style is obviously B&M, and the heart line is 1.3 meters. So after this, I'm going to be using another speed of 90 kilometers an hour, but it's going to end up being slightly quicker. It would be helpful if I actually adjusted it correctly. And a G-force of 3.7 G. It's not quite as intense as the Gerstlauers because we don't have as short of a train. And there's a weird sort of thing on this because it's twisted to one side, of course. But a way that I've started doing it has given me good enough shaping to the point where I'm happy with it. So just very quickly, we need to start banking to the side. Normally on this speed, so we're at like 93, 94 kilometers an hour, so just under 60. 35 degrees is enough, and that is a cubic section, sorry. And from here, I'm just going to add a flat section, and immediately I'm going to change this to bring the vertical force down to 0.5 G. So from 3.7, that is of course 3.2. We want 0.5, that's 3.3. So I'll pen that. And this next section, I'll leave as quartic, but change it to opposite direction first, which gives us this other box, which will become very useful. And I'm just going to make this minus 60. And at the moment, that just looks like a normal cubic section. But when we increase this, and we can only increase it, it can't go negative, you'll see it pushes the graph further towards, or further away from where we want. That's because it's opposite direction first. There is another one of these, which is overshoot final value, which does the opposite, as you'd expect. But in this case, we don't want that, because that would be not the best, let's put it mildly. And I also want to set tension to -1 and bring the center back a little bit. Let's say -0.5. I'll try that, see where it gets me. And up here, just going to use another cubic to bring the roll back to 0. You can already see we've got a shape down. It's not quite the shape I want, but the roll is pretty much sorted. So it looks from this angle quite strange, and I think that's because this section, so the valley, is too long. So I'm just going to bring this back, set this section to -1 on tension, and just extend this a little bit. Now we can see the roll isn't right for this section. Seems like it's maybe starting the main roll at the top a little too quickly. So I'm just going to increase this very slightly. It's from 1.2 to 1.4 seconds. And this section I'll append. I'll set this to half a second. And set this to 3.2 G. Again, tension to -1. Set it to 2 seconds. That's maybe too long. Definitely too long. But let's just see how the roll is. I might just very minimally increase the center on this. Just stop it rolling so quick. So, yeah. That's this, but I also am not such a fan of how that looks. Just gonna increase that. Maybe decrease that again. Now it's rolling too much because it's going away. So I'm just gonna decrease this section very minimally. So there we go. And now that doesn't look like this section is quite long enough. Should be ending around there. And that's already pushed it further down. But I also might just want to decrease that and increase the center to stop it being so tight at the top that it might get too intense in the back. Just roll this through. That might be a bit too short now, this section. It kind of looks like it comes to a snap. So I'm gonna just maybe increase the tension slightly and decrease the length. And see how this rides now. That's a lot better. So we're at too much roll here, so I'm just going to decrease that. Oh wow. So there we go. Looks very strange from this angle, very strange. But from this angle, it looks as I'd expect a B&M dive loop to look. And it also rides the closest I've been able to get it to how it actually looks. And this one isn't obviously 100%. Could spend a lot longer tweaking it until it is just perfect. But this is the basic roll and vertical force graphs for one. Just a weird sort of double bump roll graph kind of thing, but yeah, I think that should be it for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. I should have a Gerstlauer top hat tutorial coming out quite soon, maybe tomorrow at some point, and then anything else, just leave it in the comments and I'll try and get it up as quickly as I can. Thank you very much for watching.